Birds are in the sky.
What makes a warrior is how they see challenges and adversity as opportunities. Warriors grow, prepare, and prevail through their crucibles. Whether you're active duty, retired, or veteran, whether your battlefield is in entrepreneurship, business, or just climbing life's ladder, you'll gain some of what makes a warrior a warrior. Insight. Lessons of grit, adaptability, and the warrior's spirit will inspire you to smash through anything that stands in the way of your mission. Buckle your seatbelt as U.S. Marine veteran and international best-selling author Zachary Green interviews fellow warriors and share how they conquered their crucibles.
Yes, sir. We're gonna smoke them.
Good to see everybody. This is a really exciting episode on today's episode of Warrior's Voice podcast. We're actually international, and we have a very special guest for you today. Vikrant Shaurya is coming to us, and I'll let him tell a little bit more about the background, but he has developed one heck of a business and an incredible team, and we're so excited to hear from you. So Vikrant, welcome.
Thank you so much, Zachary. We're really excited for having a conversation with you, and maybe I'll be able to share some nuggets with the audience.
Well, that'd be great. So give us a little bit on your background and tell us a little bit about your company and then kind of how you got started.
Yeah, sure. Talking about my company, I run this company called bestsellingbook.com, which is all about helping entrepreneurs, coaches, thought leaders turn their book ideas into best-selling book, even when they don't have the time or skill set to write a book. So we offer done-for-you book writing, publishing, and marketing services through which we help our clients. Okay, so talking about my background, so I'm in this publishing business for around 9 or 10 years now. But before that, my parents wanted me to become an engineer. And so I took an admission in engineering college. And I used to hate my college lectures. I used to hate everything about the college. The only thing which I used to like was the college library. I used to go there, and there was a self-help section where I used to read a lot of books over there. And one fine day, I discovered this book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And it completely changed my perception about finance and life. The very same day, I just dropped out of the college, and I started my first business. Long story short,
No, wait a second here. I want to hear what your parents said when they dreamed of having their son be a successful engineer. They send you to college, then you say, "Mom and Dad, I read this book and I'm dropping out of school." What was that conversation like?
So honestly speaking, for 6 years straight, I didn't tell my parents that I've already dropped out. So actually I used to study in another city. So I had to sit on a train, and there was a 12 hours or 14 hours journey. And then I used to go to the hometown. But yeah, I didn't go to the hometown for 6 months. I thought that I'm going to be starting a business. It's going to be profitable. I'll be making some money, and then I'll go to my parents and I'll show it to them. Hey, this is what I was doing.
You're going to show up on a white horse with a big bag of gold on either side and say, "Look, your little boy did well."
Yeah.
So how did that turn out?
It turned out completely opposite. So I took some loans from my friends, my seniors, and within 6 months, I had no money left to run that business. Sadly, the thing was, every single day, my dad used to call me and ask me in the evening that, "Hey, son, how was your college?" And I had no option. I had no courage to tell him the truth that I have dropped out of college. So it is already 6 months. My business has failed. I had nothing else other than some life lessons or business lessons. I had no money in my account. I had no money to pay my rent, my bills, my electricity. And I still have a lot of regret and guilt that why I'm not telling my dad or my parents that I've already dropped out. Um, so one day I decided that I'm gonna go back to my hometown and let them know that this is what happened. So I took the train. I went there, and my dad is an ex-military person. He's a veteran, um, and he is a family man. Like he becomes very happy when our family comes together. So I have a younger brother and younger sister. So we are five people in our family. He cooked the dinner himself that night, and he was extremely happy that his eldest son is there. And then when we were about to start the dinner, I couldn't wait. I just told him that I've dropped out of the college and I'm gonna
Oh my gosh, you're
start
making
something
me
new.
nervous hearing this story. That took a lot of courage to be able to tell him that.
I had no option left because, of course, I was trying to gather this courage for last 6 months, right? Um, and finally, when I told him, so like my dad is very strong man, and when I told him that I've dropped out and I'm gonna do something of my own, I saw him crying for the very first time.
Mm.
So my mom was crying, my brother and sisters were upset. Uh, my dad locked himself in a room. He wasn't eating for 2 days.
Mm.
Um, so so yeah, but I had to come back to the city. So after 2 days, when I had to go back, I went in his room, and so in India, like we to take a blessing from elders, we touch their feet, right? So when I touched his feet, he hugged me and he told me that don't do anything wrong, which is against the law. Because, like in India, of course, things are changing a lot, but starting a business, especially an online business, people used to, like 10 years ago, they used to think that this is a scam. And one day or another day, I'm going to go in a prison. So this was the same mentality back then, right? My dad was also nervous about that what's going to happen. This this person has taken a really big decision of his life. So, but yeah, I was not in talking terms with my dad for, I guess, for 6 months. Um, my mom used to just call me once or twice in a month just to check whether I'm alive or not. But yeah, this is how I told my dad and my parents that I've dropped out.
Wow, there is so much to unpack here, Vikrant. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for sharing your story because I think that's going to be very inspirational for a lot of our listeners. There's so many things here that I think we need to get into. You went to school to get a degree in engineering, and instead, you got a degree in life. You got an opportunity to learn what to do, and I'm sure what not to do. And it as a warrior, we have to make our own journey. We have to do our own path, and our parents will set us up with the right skills and hopefully the right tools and their dreams and wishes. But at the end of the day, it's your journey, not theirs. And what you said was, up until that point that you dropped out, you were doing everything for your parents, it sounds like. And then you said, no, I have entrepreneurship in my blood. I am a warrior entrepreneur. And Vikrant, you are a warrior. What you've been able to do, the courage and to build that up. The other thing is I know very few entrepreneurs that immediately the first job they have, they wildly succeed. They usually fail and then they fail again and they go into debt and then they go into bankruptcy and then they fail again and then they build it up and then all of a sudden they take all those lessons that they learned of what not to do and they start to do the opposite and before you know it they end up building this great empire like you have built here. And that's really the main trait of the warrior journey, the warrior voice podcast is we want to take all that adversity and all that challenge and use it to grow. The concept of iron sharpens iron. And what you did by having that courage to tell your father, which I imagine was probably the hardest thing you ever had to do in your life. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
Once you did that, though, you can accomplish anything because if you could have that kind of courage to let him know that you were not doing his wishes, but you were walking your path. That's pretty incredible. So let's talk about what happened after that. So we're going through the typical early days of the Warriors journey, having a lot of struggle and challenges. You have your big crucible here where you run out of money. What happens next?
Uh, of course, I was in. Uh, Now I had some big relief, although I had some regrets because my dad was the one who sold his lands to get my admission in the engineering college. It was pretty expensive. Um, so I had some sort of regret, and I thought that I'm going to pay him back. So then what happened when I went back, of course, the situation was same. I had no money. I had around $5,000 in, I was in $5,000 debt at that time. I was 18 years old. And my landlord used to call me every day that, hey, when are you going to pay your rent? It was just $100, but I had no money to pay my rent, my electricity. Um, so uh, I started searching online that how to make money online with zero investment. So, and then I discovered self-publishing, that I can write books, I can publish books, and I can make some money out of it. The challenge was English was not my first language, and back then, of course, still now, I won't say that my English is really good, but back then it was terrible. I used to get lowest grades in the English subject. So
Vikrant, just for the record, your English is better than most Americans, just so you know.
so, but yeah, so I had to now write books and then publish it, and maybe somehow I had to make some money out of it. So I locked myself in a room, and of course I had nothing to do. I had a broken laptop with a 2G internet speed. I started writing, and I wrote my first book in 21 days, and then I published it. I marketed it, and in the first month I made around $27. And I still remember that when I got to know that I made this money, I was jumping on my bed. It was, I guess, 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. in the morning. Of course, it is not too much, but still, I could see some sort of success, some sort of path. Then I wrote another book in 3 days. It was just 50 pages book. I published it, and this month I made around. I also did some marketing on both of these books, and I made around $440 this month.
Well, and Vikrant, I think that's so important because when you make that first dollar, sometimes that first dollar's more important than your first $1 million because it shows somebody's willing to give you money for your work and your effort. They show you have provided them with value, and in exchange for the value that you provided for them, they're willing to give you money. And that's a big accomplishment to get that first dollar. So you've got your second book now, marketing's starting to come together. What happens from there?
When I got that paycheck of around $440, I called my dad that day, and I asked him, "Hey, Dad, I'm gonna send you this money to your bank account." And the thing which he told me was, of course, very emotional for me back then. He told me that I know that you need that money. Just take good care of yourself, and I know that you'll do something good in your life. Of course, now he's really happy with me. He's a proud dad. Now he himself tells everyone that my son is an entrepreneur. Hey, why are you gonna go for engineering? Start your own business. And ironically, he himself is an entrepreneur now. Everyone in my family, including my brother and sister, they're entrepreneur. They have their own business, including my dad. So things
Wow.
just yeah, so things have completely turned because of that decision that okay, I'm gonna just keep on going. Yeah, now everyone is happy. My dad is really proud of me, and he tells everyone that hey, my son does this, and he always like this. He's really happy.
You know, this is such a beautiful story. And I think what's so interesting is your father was your teacher. Your father had his dreams and wishes for you. You went out and you went on your warrior's journey. And by the time it came back, your father, the veteran, actually was the one that then learned from you. You then taught him and you became his inspiration, his pride. And the reality is as an engineer, you probably weren't going to inspire him to be an engineer. But becoming an entrepreneur, you inspired him to be an entrepreneur. And not only were you able to get the money back that he gave you for college, he's probably made a lot more money since then as a result of you not going down his path, but having the courage and the tenacity to go down your own path. So Vikrant, I thank you so much for sharing that story. I know that's sometimes difficult to talk about some of those things, but I think your story is so inspirational, not to your fellow Indians, but also the people here in the United States and across the world that listen to this. So thank you so much.
Great. Thank you so much for asking those questions.
So I got to share with you real quick. I wrote my first book about a year ago, and it really did change my life. The concept of having a book, especially if you can get to the bestseller status, which is very, very difficult, that gives you credibility as you go out and you start to build your career and to do other types of things. And we are living in the absolute best time in the world right now to be an author, because through Amazon, through a lot of the tools that are out there, you can come up with an idea and in literally 24 hours upload it and have it being sold in under 24 hours. Before that, you would have to pitch it to a publisher, get denied 10 or 15 times. They'd have to print up all the books ahead of time. You got a very small fraction of what you made. And now by having the print on demand options really opens it up. So what are some of the tips and tricks? And again, we really want people to reach out to you and join your program, but what are some tips and tricks you can give to the entrepreneurs that are out there that may be interested in writing a book?
Sure. There are, of course, several different tips and tricks, but let me talk about a few of them which can really make the difference. First of all, what I've seen after working with over 500 clients is I've seen that most people, even though they have some really great story, great message or idea to share with the world, they have some sort of mental barriers. Sometimes they think that whether are they really good enough, or are their story is really good enough, or are people are going to really buy the book? Are people going to leave negative reviews in the book? So there are so many mental barriers that goes around in their head, which actually stops them to start writing the book or pursue this journey. The thing we need to understand is, even though, for example, if you're writing about maybe self-help or or maybe entrepreneurship or marketing, there could be thousands, if not millions, of books on the same topic. But still, your perception about marketing, your journey, your thought process, the way you perceive it is completely different, and your journey is completely different. How you went from point A to point B is completely different, and you need to understand that there's still thousands of people still at point A, wanting to go to point B, and your story can really help them out. So yes, just write your book. Even if you will be able to help one person, that is worth it. So first of all, you need people should work on their mental barrier. Right. The second is when they decide that, okay, I really want to write a book. I've seen some, or actually most people, what mistake they make is they don't create a book outline. They start with maybe a chapter number 1, and when they get stuck, they don't know what to do next. So always start with a book outline. Book outline is kind of a business plan for your book, right? It's kind of a entire plan of your book. Then, for example, you will be having table of contents ready, like what goes into chapter 1, then 2, what are the sub chapters. And for example, in case if you'll get stuck on chapter number 1, maybe you will write about chapter number 4, right? So this is how having a book outline can actually give you more clarity and more confidence that you can complete the book. You will be able to see that what's your progress, exactly where you are right now in your book, and having a book outline is also going to help you identify that how eventually it can help your readers. So this is the second advice I really want to give them. And the third is, before you create the book outline, I need you to start creating the book outline quadrant. Within just 2 or 3 months, let me try to share this concept, which we have developed in our company. So whenever a new client comes to us, like the first thing which we do is we help them create the book outline quadrant, which consists of 4 different elements: the book idea, why, target readers, and the hook of the book. Of course, you already know about what's the basic idea of the book. The second element is why, and this why is extremely important. For every person, the why is going to be different. Maybe for someone, the why of writing a book would be generating more leads, generating more business, or getting more speaking gigs, or to getting more clients, or getting more customers, or establishing your brand or authority. Whatever it is, write it down, because it is going to help you write the entire book accordingly. The third element is the readers, right? Exactly who is going to be reading the book, because we need to understand that you are not writing the book for yourself. You're writing the book for your readers, who are going to be eventually reading the book.
Great point.
So exactly what are their pain points, why, where exactly they're stuck, and what kind of pain they're experiencing if they haven't read your book yet, right? So simply explore all of the places where you're maybe join some Facebook groups, some communities, see exactly what those people are discussing, and it's going to help you write the right book, right? Exactly for your audience. Of course, the core concept is going to be exactly what you wanted to deliver, but the way you will position it, the way you will craft it, that can really help your readers. This having doing the research is going to help you out with that. The fourth is the hook, which is extremely important, because there could be thousands of books on the same topic. So why your book? How your book is going to be different from other books in the market? One simple way which I've seen that works really good for all of our clients is find our top 10 or top 20 books which on the same topic, which are doing really good, and go for 3 to 4 star ratings reviews, because these 3 to 4 star ratings actually tell you that what people are really liking in the book and what people are not liking in the book.
That's a
Exactly what
great
is
point,
missing.
because you always look at the 5 star, but that only tells you what they like. You're not learning as much. Just like your journey, you learned more from what you didn't do well than what you did do well. That's a great point. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, sure. So reading those 3 star reviews or 4 star ratings are exactly going to tell you that what to include in the book. So these 4 elements combined, the idea, the why, the readers, and the hook, actually is going to help you create the book outline quadrant. Then maybe write it in the A4 sheet, right? To simply, or paste it on your wall, and then work on the book outline. This is going to help you exactly tell you that because all of the elements are there on that book outline quadrant. Your idea, exactly why you want to write a book, who is your readers, where exactly you can find them, and the hook of the book. So yeah, these are a few of the tips and tricks which that can really help your audience to write the book fast.
That's fantastic. Well, Vikrant, I almost want to write another book now. You got me so excited and jazzed up. How can our listeners get in touch with you, especially those aspiring authors that want to become an author, or maybe that they're already writing a book and they want to get to that next level? What's the best way they can reach you?
I believe there are going to be 2 types of audience listening to the show. Maybe one audience who has the financial resources and they really want to hire a professional company who can take care of all of the things for them. So simply they can go to bestsellingbook.com, uh, check out some testimonials, some case studies. There are plenty of them on our website. If you think this is the right fit, then simply schedule a call with us, and one of our author strategists are going to help you start, right? I think the second type of audience listening to the show could be people who want to write the book themselves, right? Who don't have the financial resources or don't want to hire a professional company to do this. For them, what I've seen that people always get stuck because they don't know what to do or what not to do, exactly where to start, what are the different things which they have to do in order to turn their book ideas into best-selling book, because there could be hundreds of steps which are, of course, you know it, right? Because you have already gone through the service. Like, first of all, you need to come with the idea, then title and subtitle, then writing the book, then editing, proofreading, cover designing, book formatting, ISBN, pricing, categories, keywords, then publishing the book, then marketing, getting sales, reviews. There are tons of things which you have to do, right? So I have actually created a checklist, a one-page checklist that we use it in our backend as well. Like, we use it for our clients as well. So you can simply go to bestsellingbook.com/checklist. You can download it for free. And this checklist also comes with a blueprint, which also explains how to use the checklist. So simply download it, print it out, paste it on the wall in front of where exactly you're going to be writing the book. And it's going to make the entire publishing journey extremely easy for you.
Well, Vikrant, I got to tell you, this has been one of my more favorite episodes that I've done. And the reason why is your story is incredible. The second thing is you've really given our listeners a lot of actionable items and maybe inspired some of those that have that story inside of them. They just don't know how to get it out of it. And then finally, you inspire me hearing what you're doing and your growth, and that you're creating a company of value that is really helping other people, not to mention your family, and you're reaching people on the world stage. So I wish we could go back and talk to that Vikrant about 20 minutes before he told his father that he dropped out of school and said, just wait, greatness is coming, my man, just hold on here. But my hat's off to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
We have a tradition here on the Warrior's Voice that we dedicate each episode to a fallen warrior, a warrior that's been out there. And I can think of absolutely nobody better to dedicate in this episode than Mahatma Gandhi. For our listeners that don't know, Gandhi was born back in October of 1869 in an area called Porbandar, India, and he died in 1948. He was a lawyer, a politician, a social activist, and a writer. He actually led the nationalist movement against the British rule of India. What makes Gandhi so incredible, and I know as a younger man, when I look at him, I see a weak old man with knobby knees and raggedy clothes that wouldn't fight. And I'm thinking, like, why wouldn't he do that? But the strength that Gandhi had and inspiring other people with this nonviolent civil disobedience that ultimately inspired our great leader here in the United States, Dr. Martin Luther King, to do that same type of movement. He showed that he was stronger by not fighting back. He was stronger by being taking that peaceful way. And what he inspired not only allowed India to take their independence back, but he inspired warriors across the world to know that sometimes you're stronger by not punching back than you are actually fighting back. So with that, we'd like to dedicate this episode to your leader, our leader, Mahatma Gandhi, and finish off as we always do with Semper Fidelis.
Thank you for listening to The Warrior's Voice. If you haven't, please subscribe to this show and be the first to hear new episodes. You can also visit www.warriorleader.us to learn more about how you and/or your business can use the Warrior Framework to conquer personal and professional crucibles.